everybody, this is Noreen from Joy of Cards, and I'm an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator, and welcome to my YouTube channel. Yay! For more of my Stampin' Up! Card videos, please make sure you hit the bell and the subscribe, and you'll be notified when my videos release. But today's video, this isn't my normal intro, but today's video isn't a card. It's actually how to put together your catalog tabs on your new annual catalog. Now, it's 2022 to 2023. I did a video on this also last year too when that video came out. And if you notice, I've got my catalog here and I've bound it. And I also have another one where I've bound it and I laminated it. And if you're interested in that video, I'll put the link in the description of the video. So if you go next to the title of the video, there's usually an arrow or show more or more. If you click on that, it'll bring everything in my video down. Like if I'm doing a card, I'll have all the dimensions, all the supplies and everything. And this is just for doing the labels. So there will be some things in there, like I am an Amazon affiliate, which means I've been checked out by Amazon. All my links are safe. So like my glass here and any kind of the binding material that I've used in the videos will be on there. But these are the labels. Now I had to wait. I had to do my binding video first because these weren't out right away. And I had a lady, her name is Denise. Hi, Denise. She said, when are you doing the labels? And it's like, they haven't come out yet. So anyway, I've got them now. And you get a package like this, and there's a whole bunch of labels in, but all you really need is these three. Now, these are the same, and this is a different one, of course. And you've got all kinds of different languages here. So if you want English, it's on the bottom. It'll say index, accessories, and more, all occasion, and these are the same. And then this one says artistic expression, hobbies, recreation, host and join, kids, baby, and love, thanks, and support. Now, being a demonstrator, and I want more of the back end of the catalog because I'm always looking for punches or ribbons or DS paper, and I'm going to that. Not so much in the middle because I kind of know what's in there. So this is how I do it. This is also very personal. So think about what you're always looking for in the catalog, and you can do your labels this way. Now, the only way you can get these labels is through a demonstrator. So if you would like these labels for free, all you have to do is place any kind of order on my Stampin' Up! Site, and that will be in the description of the video. Or it's my name, Noreen Brungard. I'll put it down here on the bottom. NoreenBrungard.stampinup.net. You place any kind of an order, I'll mail these three out to you for free. So let's get started. So this particular label, what you're going to see is the artistic all the way to love and thanks. What you do is you go on to page 3 of the catalog, and it lists those categories. It'll say all occasion, kids, baby, love, thanks, hobbies, recreation, artistic expression. So that's how you use these labels, is you find those different categories. And you can also know the categories by the upper right hand corner. There's a color, and it'll say like all occasion. So what I did is I took the label from all occasion, and it's actually on this one. So it's these both. So it's all these plus that. All occasion, and you put it on the tab here. And what I did, I turned my light on. See, this is my light board. Anyway, what I did is I turned it around and I just looked for the different sections. So kids and baby, which is green, I did there. So I put the label on here and I just kind of lined them up. I knew there were 5 different categories, so I just kind of spaced them out. So here's kids and baby. And then I went to the blue tab right here and put the blue tab on for love, thanks, and support. I went to the dark purple tab, and this is the beginning of that section, and put the tab there. And then the last one is they actually have them, and I just realized it because I'm slow apparently. These are the new in colors. So you've got Sweet Sorbet, Orchid Oasis, Starry Sky, Parakeet Party, and Tahitian Tide. So they're all the new in colors, and I just lined them up like so. Now if you're a big hobbyist or a demonstrator, which most of my subscribers are demonstrators. And by the way, if you're a first-time subscriber today, like, subscribe, put in the comments that you'd like to win a free demo card. I do cards all the time, and I got a million of them, and I give them all away. So definitely sign up and get a free demo card. So the next one, and the most important thing to me as a demonstrator to find in the catalog, is all the stuff in the back. I'm always looking for like a part number or something to coordinate with, or when I'm placing orders, and I just want to get to that part. Now, I altered my tabs. What I did is I took these tabs here, and you've got index, accessories, and more, and all occasion. Well, I'm only going to use one of the 5 different sections in the front. So I'm only going to use these here on the side to do the back. So the first one I did, and you can also go to the back here, and there's another accessory index, and this breaks it down by adhesive, die cutting, embellishment, embossing, ink, paper, blah, 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 blah. So that also helps you with terminology in terms of finding stuff. But I went to the first page here on 122, 123, and I used my label maker, and I printed out ink, cardstock, refill, and blends. And I just ink and then slash cardstock, and then I entered down refill / blends. And I did it on my Brother P-Touch. And if you want to get a label maker, I love this. It's actually the one I use for my actual, real job. And it's a P-Touch. But there's an Amazon link in the description of my video. You can click on it and you can get the label maker. I'll also put on the list there, the tapes. I don't buy the OEM tapes, the manufacturer tapes, because they're really expensive. And as you can see, they waste so much of it. And there is a way to kind of cut down on the waste. And because this thing is really smart. And after a while, I figured it out. It's like, I shouldn't waste so much tape. And so not only did I make the font small, I did away so it just does one after the other without putting this big gap. And that's in the instruction of the booklet. So this is a really cool thing. But I use the it's not a remanufactured tape, I don't believe, but it's definitely not an OEM tape. And it's just a lot less expensive. And I'll put the link in the video so you don't have to, spend a lot on it. But I print these out like so, and then I put them on the tabs. I just put them over the index one and the accessories and more. Now this one here, because it's so thick, I had to cut it down because those tabs aren't very wide. So I printed it out twice, one for one side and one for the other. So I'll take my tab sheet here, and I'm going to cut it right down to the end, and then I'm going to take this side, turn it over, cut it all the way over like that, and then I'm going to cut off the blank spot on the bottom and the blank spot on the top, and then I want to get rid of that space in between, so I hold it real tight and I just cut off the wording there and turn it around and cut off the wording here just like that. And then I'm going to go ahead and put it on my label. So I'm going to take the backing off. So here's backing off of ink cardstock, and I'm going to put it, so these labels, when you look at it, they come off like this. So there is a front and a back, and when you look at it, it'll be the right side and then like upside down. So I'm going to put my ink and cardstock, and I'm going to kind of measure it up against the label. Okay, and then I'm going to take the other one and take the back off, and I'm going to put it right underneath. So now they'll fit on this little tab. If I wouldn't have cut it apart, it wouldn't have fit on the tab. Now I'm going to turn it over, and I'm going to grab the second one. So you're going to print 2 labels per tab, and you're going to go through the same process of cutting them down and putting them on. So I'm going to cut this down, and I'll be right back. So I've cut them down. I've taken the backs off each now. So I put the labels on this way. Now I'm going to turn it over and put it on upside down on the other side and layer it just like that. So when you take it off, it'll look like that. Now let me grab a new catalog. So we've got the new catalog, and we're going to start out with the inks and the paper and the refill. So I'm going to accessories and more, and that just happens to be, you know, the color of the label, but I'm going to use the index one because to me they're all just kind of gray, and I'm going to cover them up anyway because I'm going to just change it a little bit. So I've got that label, and I want my tab to stick out a little bit. Now if you want it to be flush with the paper, you can. There is that fold, and just put the paper right up against it, but I want it to stick out. So I'm going to put it just right on the edge, and I'm going to fold it over just like that. So when you look at a catalog, you could pull the tab. So the next section I wanted to have was adhesives. So I made 2 prints of adhesive, and you do the same thing. You cut it down and you put it on the label. So I cut adhesives. Now I didn't have to cut it down as far as the other one because it's just one line. So I did one going one way, one going the other way, pull the tab off, and then I'm going to go back to that first tab where I had the ink and cardstock, and I'm just going to kind of line it up and make sure this one is offset. So I'm going to put that to there. I just have it on the edge like I personally like it, and fold it over. So now we have 2 tabs. And then I'm just going to take you through what I did. Like I said, it depends on, it totally is your personal preference of how you want to categorize all your things. But I did change the labels. That's what I wanted to do. The next one is DS paper. So I've got my DS paper label, and I'm going to cut it and put it on the tab. Actually, the next section is this one right here, and I call it coloring tool. So I left this mistake in on purpose because you really want to make sure as you're going through this, you're not skipping a sections. You see, I skipped this one in between because I am putting those tabs offset from each other. So I'm going to get the coloring tools, and I'll line up the adhesive one that I just did before it and line it up to offset it right there. And now the next section is DS paper. So I'm going to cut the DS text, and I'll be back again. So here's the DS paper, here's coloring tools. I'm going to make sure that it's offset and fold it down like so. And then the next category, just turn, and what do we have? I really don't need this a lot of times. Now I'm going to go on this page, and this is what I called specialty paper. Here's another little tip. When you're cutting these labels, cut it down to size and then take the backs off, because once you cut it again, because these are split in the middle, so if you get my label maker and my labels, they're split down the middle, so you're not like sitting there for 10 minutes trying to, you know, get the back of the label off with your fingernail. But if you cut it down, like I have to cut this one into 2 to get rid of the space to fit onto the tab, I was sitting there having to do that. So take the paper off first and then start to cut this down. So I got specialty paper on there. I'm lining it up with DS paper. I'm onto the page here, and I'm going to just put it on the end and fold it over. So let's go to the next section. I definitely will want to always look at embellishments. So I got my label here, and I'm going to really cut this down because this is a long word. So I'm going to cut that all the way to the end and then just cut off a little pieces on the side. But of course, take that backing off first. So I cut down embellishments. Now, embellishment, the word is in the middle of the tape, so I didn't have to take the backing off to trim it. So I didn't have to do that. Now, this is a really long word, so put it all the way to one side. You might have to just fold the little edge over. So here's that middle of the word, so the split here is in the middle, but when you have 2 words, the split is in the part that you cut off. So anyway, so I did one direction, and now I'm doing the other direction like that. And then I'm going to line it up with the tab before, of course, which is specialty paper, and line it up here. And I'm offsetting and fold it over. So there's my embellishments. Let's go to the next section. Definitely ribbon. So let's do our ribbon. If you've noticed, I've run out the index light gray. Now I'm going into the accessories more, the darker gray here, because, it's great. So I'm going to go back to my embellishments and line up where the ribbon should go and fold it over. And then the next section after ribbon is you've got the perfect placement and the blocks. Now I do actually use that as well. So I'm using the word stamping tools because a stamparatus is definitely a stamping tool and blocks are as well. This is where you find the chamois to clean off your stamps in between, and the cases. The cases, you put the chamois in the case and it keeps it moist for a few days. Also, the cases are for the paper. Sorry, my alarm went off. Also, the cases are good for the paper pumpkin inserts. If you have a paper pumpkin subscription, there's a link that you can copy every month for the front part of your stamp case. Just like any other stamp case, you can get it for paper pumpkin. So it would be like this with the paper pumpkin month on it. It's really cool. So the next one is stamping tools. That's what I've called this. So we got stamping tools. I'm lining this up with ribbon, so I know to offset it, fold it over. All right, so that's my stamping tools. And the next would be punches, and definitely you want to get to your punches. So let's put on the punches. So stamping tools was at the end of this page, so I'm going to put this one at the top of the punch page. So we got our punches, and then the next category I'm going to be doing is this one. Okay, and it's under terrific tools, and it's basically, I'm calling it cutting, scoring, and embossing. So I'm going to have to really not only cut this down, but I'm going to have to separate those lines to take out as much space as possible. So the sides and then the ends, and then take off that back, because that split is in the middle. You want to be sitting there for 5 minutes trying to get the tape off. It'll drive you crazy. So split every line down and then line them up. So my label looks like this, and I'm going to line it up, of course, with punches, fold it over, and then find the next category. And like I said, I have a lot of categories because I actually, being a demonstrator, look for these things constantly, and so they're all kind of in the back. So the next one is dies. So dies are easy, so let's put in our dies. Here's dies. I'm gonna line it up and fold it over, and let's see what's next. I caught myself in a mistake. This isn't dies. I was just kind of looking at this. This is stamps. It's actually bundles, but I'm gonna go ahead and remove this. Now these are actually pretty good about being removed, even when, of course, this is the only one I've ever ripped, even when you put it on. And you've got a few labels here. You can use a few of those. So I'm just going to separate this one out and pull it off. So I've got stamps here, and I'm just going to put it right on the edge. And then now comes dies in the back here. And they're right here. And all we're going to do is reuse that label I just pulled off. And like I said, these usually pull off pretty good. Of course, it's Murphy's Law. I wasn't going to pull off nicely on camera, but they do. I pulled off a couple and they were fine. So I'm just going to line this up here and just fold it over, and it'll be just fine. And then the last one is embossing folders, which I forgot to print out, but that's okay, because I'll show you my Brother P-Touch. So embossing, and then I'm going to enter down, and it'll take it to the next line, folders. And then I'm going to print 2 of these. So I'm going to go print, and then you up arrow for 2, print again, and it's going to print me out 2 of my labels. And I've got it set up so the only waste is in the front, and it takes down all the rest of it. So I'm going to go ahead and separate these out. And the last one is embossing folders. So I'll just put this one at the end. And the rest of it, I don't particularly use. Maybe some people do. Like they have the join. So if you do a party or an online party, all that information's in the back. The index for all the stamps, you might find that one useful, but it's at the end anyway. And then the accessory index, and that's it. So that's how I do my catalog. If you want to learn how to put your catalog together like this or laminate it and also bind it, go to my Bind Your New Stampin' Up! Catalog that aired on May 5th, 2022. But that will do it for me. Thanks, bye.